Hello, my dear students. In this lecture, we are going to see few previous year GATE numericals, those which are theoretical questions. Right. Now, very first question in today's lecture we are going to see is from GATE 2016 for 1 mark. Basically, this question was asked on heat exchanger. So let us understand what is the question. For a heat exchanger, delta T maximum is a maximum temperature difference and delta T minimum is a minimum temperature difference between the two fluids. LMTD is the log mean temperature difference. C minimum and C maximum are the minimum and maximum heat capacity rates. The maximum possible heat transfer between the two fluids is. Now, for a heat exchanger, let us understand the heat exchanger. Let us say this is a heat exchanger, right? Now, my dear students, in this heat exchanger, hot fluid is flowing. Let us say this hot fluid is flowing. This is the flow of hot fluid, right? And let us say the inlet temperature of hot fluid is Thi and the exit temperature of hot fluid is Tho. As well as through this heat exchanger, the cold fluid is also flowing. And let us say the inlet temperature of cold fluid is Tci and the exit temperature of cold fluid is Tco, right? Now, my dear students, as hot fluid is losing heat to the cold fluid and the cold fluid is accepting heat from the hot fluid, right? Means whatever may be the heat lost by the hot fluid is gained by the cold fluid, right? Now, my dear students, here therefore the temperature of hot fluid will decrease because it is losing heat and the temperature of cold fluid will increase because it is gaining heat, right? Therefore, can I say the maximum temperature in this heat exchanger will be the inlet temperature of hot fluid, right? Because later the temperature of hot fluid is decreasing and the minimum temperature in this heat exchanger will be this temperature of cold fluid, inlet temperature of cold fluid. Therefore, minimum temperature will be inlet temperature of cold fluid, because here the cold fluid temperature is increasing and hot fluid temperature is decreasing. Therefore, this difference is delta T max, right? Therefore, my dear students, here delta T max, we can say delta T max will be equal to Thi minus Tci. Let us say initially this Thi and Tci, that is inlet of hot fluid and inlet of cold fluid, is in contact. Therefore, the temperature difference available for heat transfer between them will be Thi minus Tci. Therefore, for maximum heat transfer condition, we have to consider delta T maximum, because the maximum heat transfer will occur whenever there is a maximum difference between them. Therefore, definitely for maximum heat transfer between hot fluid and cold fluid, we have to consider maximum temperature difference, which is nothing but Thi minus Tci, right? So one thing we have understood that here, out of this delta T maximum, delta T minimum, and LMTD, we have to consider delta T maximum for calculating of this maximum heat transfer. Now, C minimum and C maximum, these are the heat capacity rates they have mentioned. C minimum and C maximum are heat capacity rates. That means the C is nothing but mass into specific heat product, MCP product, right? Now we have one cold fluid and other hot fluid, right? Now we will be having heat capacity of cold fluid, that is MCP of cold fluid, and we will be having heat capacity of hot fluid, MCP of hot fluid. Now let us understand the meaning of heat capacity. Heat capacity is nothing but the amount of or the units of heat which they can exchange. Right? Heat capacity rate is nothing but this much units the heat they can exchange. Right? Now let us say here, for example, I am assuming for cold fluid it is C minimum and for hot fluid it is C maximum. This is just my assumption. Let us say the C minimum for cold fluid, which is nothing but 2 units, right? And C maximum for the hot fluid is equal to 4 units. This is just an example. Now, the meaning of this is the hot fluid can lose 4 units, that is heat capacity rate, right? But the cold fluid can accept only the 2 units only, right? Now here there is a heat exchange between hot and cold fluid, right? Therefore, the hot fluid is willing to lose 4 units, but my dear students, the cold fluid is capable of accepting only 2 units, right? Therefore, he is losing 4 units, but he is accepting only 2 units. Therefore, the net exchange will be 2 units only, right? The net exchange between them will be 2 units. Therefore, we have to consider C minimum. Therefore, the net exchange will be C minimum. Now, let us consider the other example. Let us say here the C maximum is for cold fluid. Now what I am assuming, maximum is for cold fluid. Let us say it is 4 and the minimum is for hot fluid. Let us say it is 2. Right. Now I have considered the reverse case. Now the hot fluid is willing to lose 2 units. Means the hot fluid is losing 2 units. Right. Now he is losing 2 units. Now cold fluid can accept 4 units. What is the case? Now hot fluid is losing lesser units, but the cold fluid can accept more units. But there is exchange between hot and cold only. Therefore, now he can take 4, but only 2 are available to consume. Therefore, he will take only 2. Right? Am I right? Right. Therefore, the minimum of 2, the exchange is minimum of 2. Therefore, my dear students, the heat transfer, the maximum possible heat transfer will be equal to C minimum into delta T maximum. Right. Therefore, the option will be C minimum delta T maximum. That is option B is the correct choice. Now the second question is, which was asked in GATE 2015 for 1 mark. This question is based on effectiveness of heat exchanger. So let us understand the question. The question is, saturated vapor is condensed in a saturated liquid in a condenser. Now my dear students, here they have provided condenser. Right. Now condenser is a heat exchanger in which there is a phase change of hot fluid. Now here they have given condenser. Right. And condenser is nothing but phase change of hot fluid. That means during phase change temperature do not change. Therefore inlet temperature of hot fluid is equal to exit temperature or outlet temperature of hot fluid. This is called condenser. And for cold fluid, temperature increases. For cold fluid, temperature increases. Therefore exit temperature of cold fluid will be more than inlet temperature of cold fluid. Now my dear students, here the hot fluid and cold fluid are in contact. Here the heat exchanger will be, let us say, if I see here heat exchanger, let us say this is a heat exchanger. Now in this heat exchanger, let us say the hot fluid is flowing through this heat exchanger at temperature. The inlet temperature of hot fluid is Thi and the exit temperature is Tho. This is the hot fluid, and as well as the cold fluid is flowing through this heat exchanger. Let us say the inlet temperature of cold fluid is Tci and the exit temperature will be Tco. Now my dear students, as the heat exchanger is adiabatic process, the heat exchanger is an adiabatic process, means the heat transfer to the surrounding is zero. That is, heat loss to the surrounding or heat gain from the surrounding is zero. That means whatever may be the heat lost by this hot fluid is equal to heat gained by the cold fluid. Therefore, the net heat exchange between hot and cold fluid will be equal to, if I consider cold fluid, it is mCp of cold fluid, into temperature difference of cold fluid, that is Tco minus Tci, right? And if I consider hot fluid, then it will be mCp of hot fluid into temperature difference of hot fluid, that is Thi minus Tho, right? Now my dear students, here mass of cold fluid, Cp of cold fluid and temperature difference of cold fluid all are finite values. Therefore this heat transfer will be equal to finite value. We will be getting some finite value for this heat transfer. But here for hot fluid, the temperature difference will be zero because it is a phase change, right? Therefore can I say this mCp of hot fluid is equal to some finite value divided by temperature difference of hot fluid, that is zero, which is nothing but infinite. Therefore my dear students, here this mCp product of hot fluid is nothing but mCp maximum, which is also called C maximum. Therefore, my dear students, the mCp product will be maximum for hot fluid in case of condenser, right, which is infinite. So the minimum will be for definitely for cold fluid, right? Therefore, we can say the mCp minimum or C minimum, mCp minimum is nothing but C minimum will be mCp of cold fluid. Therefore, this capacity rate ratio, which is nothing but C or CR, this CR is nothing but C minimum divided by C maximum. And here C maximum is infinite. Right? Which is infinite. Therefore, my dear students, is equal to some value C minimum divided by infinite will be equal to zero. Means this capacity rate ratio will be zero. And my dear students, the effectiveness of counter flow or effectiveness of parallel flow, whenever this C becomes zero, will become equal to. That means what I am saying, whenever this capacity rate ratio is 0, or if one of the fluid is undergoing phase change, then counter flow heat exchanger and parallel flow heat exchanger becomes same. Let us say now effectiveness of counter flow heat exchanger is nothing but we have derived formula, that is 1 minus e to the power minus 1 minus c into NTU divided by 1 minus c e to the power minus 1 minus c NTU. This formula we have derived for the effectiveness of counter flow heat exchanger. Now let us put here c is equal to 0. If I put c is equal to 0, then effectiveness of this counter flow heat exchanger will become 1 minus e to the power minus NTU divided by 1, which is equal to 1 minus e to the power minus NTU. Right. Again, for parallel flow heat exchanger, we have derived the formula of effectiveness, which is nothing but 1 minus e to the power minus 1 plus c into NTU divided by 1 plus c. This is a formula to find effectiveness of parallel flow. Now let us put c is equal to 0, right? Because here one of the fluid is undergoing phase change. Therefore, this effectiveness of parallel flow will become equal to 1 minus e to the power minus NTU. If I put c is equal to 0, that means is equal to effectiveness of counter flow heat exchanger. That means, my dear students, if one of the fluid is undergoing phase change, as like in condenser hot fluid is undergoing phase change. So if one of the fluid is undergoing phase change, then parallel flow heat exchanger always becomes equal to counter flow heat exchanger, right? Again, in evaporator, the cold fluid is undergoing phase change. So for evaporator also, the effectiveness of parallel is equal to effectiveness of counter is equal to 1 minus e to the power minus NTU. So if I look at the option, I will find that option D will be the correct choice. Now the next question, which was asked in GATE 2014 for 1 mark in state 2. Now the question is to find the type of heat exchanger for given temperature difference on both sides of fluid streams. So let us understand the question. The question is, in a heat exchanger, it is observed that delta T1 is equal to delta T2, where delta T1 is a temperature difference between two single phase fluid streams at one end, and delta T2 is a temperature difference at the other end. This heat exchanger is, options are condenser, evaporator, counter flow heat exchanger, parallel flow heat exchanger. Now my dear students, for this question answer will be counter flow heat exchanger. Now let us understand why the counter flow heat exchanger. Now why not condenser? We will understand first why not condenser, why not evaporator, and why not parallel flow heat exchanger. Then we will see why it is counter flow heat exchanger. Now let us understand first condenser, right? Now my dear students, condenser is nothing but, in condenser there is a phase change of hot fluid, right? Here condenser as well as evaporator, there is a phase change. In condenser as well as evaporator there is a phase change, but in condenser there is a phase change of hot fluid, and in evaporator there is a phase change of cold fluid, right? And just now in previous numerical we have seen, whenever there is a phase change of any one fluid, then the parallel flow always becomes equal to counter flow. Parallel flow heat exchanger and counter flow heat exchanger becomes exactly same. So let us understand here any type of heat exchanger. Now for condenser, let us assume parallel flow heat exchanger. So if I draw here condenser, right, here I am going to draw temperature distribution for condenser. Now here for condenser, the temperature of hot fluid remains constant. Therefore let us say the inlet temperature of hot fluid is Thi and the exit temperature of hot fluid is Tho. Now there will be no change in temperature and it is a hot fluid, right? And let us say it is a parallel flow heat exchanger. As hot fluid is flowing from left to right, therefore cold will also flow from left to right. And during flow, the temperature of cold fluid, that is inlet temperature of cold fluid is Tci and the exit temperature of cold fluid is Tco. And during the flow, the temperature of cold fluid will increase, right? This is called cold fluid. And my dear student, such type of heat exchanger is called condenser. Now here, this inlet temperature difference, that is Thi minus Tci, is nothing but delta T1. It is mentioned that it is a delta T1, right? This will be delta T1. And the right side temperature difference, that is exit temperature difference of both fluids, is delta T2. Now here, definitely you can say delta T1 is never equal to delta T2. Therefore here delta T1 is never equal to delta T2, right? Now second, means if one of the fluid is undergoing phase change, then this temperature difference will be never equal to, right? Now again understand evaporator. Now in case of evaporator, there is a phase change of cold fluid, right? If I understand evaporator, there is a phase change in a cold fluid, right? Therefore, let us say the inlet temperature of hot is Thi and the exit temperature of hot is Tho, right? Therefore, I am assuming the hot fluid flow is from left to right, right? And there will be a phase change of cold fluid. Therefore, there will be no change in temperature of cold fluid. Let us say the inlet temperature of cold fluid is Tci and the exit temperature of cold fluid is Tco, and there will be only phase change of cold fluid and there is no temperature change of cold fluid. Therefore, again you can see here the inlet temperature difference, which is delta T1, and exit temperature difference, which is delta T2. Again here we can say delta T1 is never equal to delta T2. This delta T1 is never equal to delta T2. Means if one of the fluid is undergoing phase change, the temperature difference is never same. Because for condenser, as hot fluid is undergoing phase change, the temperature of hot fluid will not change, but the temperature of cold fluid will increase. And in case of evaporator, as cold fluid is undergoing phase change, the temperature of cold fluid will not change, but the temperature of hot fluid will decrease. Therefore, temperature difference will never remain same. Right. Now, next is parallel flow heat exchanger. Now, my dear students, again in case of parallel flow heat exchanger, let us say option D, that is parallel flow heat exchanger. For parallel flow heat exchanger, the inlet conditions for hot and cold fluid will be from same side. That is, let us say on the left side there is an inlet temperature of hot fluid. Therefore, the hot while flowing, the hot fluid temperature will decrease. Right here, hot fluid is flowing. The exit temperature of hot fluid will be Tho. Right, and during the flow, the temperature of hot fluid will decrease and the flow hot fluid is from left side to right side. And in case of parallel flow, the direction of flow for cold as well as hot will remain same. Therefore, the cold fluid direction will be from left to right only. Therefore, let us say Tci is a cold fluid inlet temperature, and during the flow, the cold fluid temperature will increase, right? And here Tco will be the exit temperature of cold fluid. Therefore, let us understand here the delta T1 is Thi minus Tci, which is left side temperature difference, and right side temperature difference is delta T2. Right. Again, in case of this parallel flow heat exchanger, we can say the delta T1 is never equal to delta T2. Right. So we can say here the option A, B, and D is never possible. Therefore, only remaining option is option C. Right. So let us understand here for option C. If I understand option C, that is counter flow heat exchanger, let us understand the counter flow heat exchanger. Now, in case of counter flow heat exchanger, the direction of hot and cold fluid will be from opposite side. Let us say the hot fluid direction is Thi to Tho from left to right. This is a hot fluid direction. Then the cold fluid direction will be from right to left. Therefore, it is Tci to Tco. That is right to left, right? Tco. Therefore, in this case, this delta T1, that is Thi minus Tco will be delta T1, and Tho minus Tci will be delta T2. Will be delta T2. And now, my dear students, in this case, we can say that delta T1 can be equal to delta T2. Can be, what I am saying, can be equal to, right? And this happens if MCP product of cold is equal to MCP product of hot. That is equal heat capacity rate. Now, what is the heat transfer? Heat transfer is nothing but MCP of cold into temperature difference of cold, that is Tco minus Tci, is equal to MCP of hot into temperature difference of hot, that is Thi minus Tho. Therefore, if this cold fluid and hot fluid having equal heat capacity rates for counter flow heat exchanger, then this MCP will get cancelled and we will get Tco minus Tci is equal to Thi minus Tho. Now let us take this Tho on the left side and Tco on the right side. Therefore, it will become Tho minus Tci, which is equal to Thi minus Tco. And my dear students, this Tho minus Tci is delta T2, right? And this Thi minus Tco is delta T1. Therefore, whenever the hot and cold fluid will be having equal heat capacity rates, then for counter flow heat exchanger only, delta T1 becomes equal to delta T2. Therefore, option C is the correct choice. Now, the next question which was asked in GATE 1994 for our mark is the practice to use steam on cell side and the water on tube side in a condenser of steam power plant is because. Now, my dear students, let us say there is a tube. Let us say there is a tube like this, right? And through this tube, they are mentioning that the water is flowing. In this tube, the water is there. Water means through tube there is a cold fluid, and surrounding to this tube there is a steam, right? From cell side there is a steam, right? Now, why we are doing this means the cold fluid is from tube side and the hot fluid from the cell side. Why this is so, right? Now, the reason is that it is easier to maintain vacuum on cell side than the on tube side, right? Option D is the correct choice for this question. Now, let us understand why option D, right? Now, my dear students, here as it is a steam condenser, as it is a steam condenser or it is a condenser, right? Condenser is nothing but there is a condensation of hot fluid, means this steam will get condensed into the water, right, on the cell side. Now, my dear students, means there is a condensation of steam will get condensed, and whenever there is a condensation, the vapor will convert into liquid, and as vapor is converting into liquid, can I say the volume will decrease? As vapor will convert into liquid, the volume will decrease. Therefore, as volume is decreasing, my dear students, can I say the space occupied by the steam is more than the space occupied by the water? Therefore, there will be some portion where there will be a vacuum. The vacuum is created. We can say the vacuum will be created. And my dear students, this vacuum is easy to maintain on steam side or cell side as compared to tube side. In this tube, it is difficult to maintain this vacuum, but the same vacuum can be maintained on the steam side. If I provide some leakage, then outside air will go inside, or inside air will go outside to maintain the vacuum. This vacuum can be easily maintained on the cell side as compared to tube side. Because of this reason only, in actual practical condition, the hot fluid used in a cell side and the cold fluid used in a tube side. Now, the next question which was asked in GATE 1991 for a 1 mark is, in a cell and tube heat exchanger, baffles are mainly used to. Now, what is the purpose of using baffles? The purpose of baffles is to deflect the flow in desired direction. That is option C. So let us understand this with the simple animation. Now here you can see this will be the entry of cold fluid. Let us say this is the TCI, inlet temperature of cold fluid, and the cold fluid will flow through the tube, right? Now the cold fluid is flowing through the tube, and the exit of cold fluid will be from this side. So let us say this is the exit of cold fluid, TCO, right? And the hot fluid will flow through the cell side. And let us say here I am assuming from this there is the inlet of hot fluid, THI, and the exit of hot fluid will be here, THO. And the hot fluid is flowing through the cell, and the cold fluid is flowing through the tube. Now let us understand here, these are the baffles. You can see these are the baffles, right? So let us show these baffles. These are called baffles, right? These are some baffles, right? Now these baffles are used to deflect the flow in desired direction. Now this hot fluid will be deflected because of these baffles. So let us observe here with the help of animation, right? Now you can see it is an inlet of cold fluid. You can see from this cold fluid is entering and flowing through the tube, and it is exiting from this location. So you can assume here as an exit of cold fluid, that is TCO, and from here inlet of cold fluid, that is TCI. It is absolutely fine. We can pass cold fluid from this side also, but here it is flowing from this side and going in this direction, and it will come out. But what is the purpose of this baffle? See, the hot fluid is entering from this location, and it is deflecting in desired direction. You can see it is deflecting. It is deflecting. Because of the deflection, this hot fluid will remain in this cell for maximum time, and there will be a maximum condensation of this hot fluid or maximum cooling of this hot fluid. Thank you, dear students. In next lecture, we will see one more numerical on this topic which was asked in previous year GATE examination.